Thank you for that report, Vera Moran. Now, meanwhile, professionals in the building sector have warned that more than 85% of houses in Kenya are unsafe for human occupation. This exposes Kenyans to accidents, health risks, and even death. Following the South Sea building collapse, the professionals have blamed developers for not involving them in the construction process to help prevent buildings from collapsing. Esther Diana tells us more.
If a slight tremor occurred today, majority of buildings in Kenya will be at risk of collapsing. This is according to professionals who have said that only 15% of housing in Kenya is safe for human occupation. They have blamed developers for neglecting the expertise. Today, only 20% of development projects seek the expertise of built professionals.
They are living by the grace of God. If a tremor, even at a very low Richter scale, was to happen in Kenya today, a lot of buildings will come down. In most of our counties, like in Nairobi, consultants are forced to sign indemnity, absolving county officials from any issues there. But at the same time, that stage of approval is a bottleneck, which developers have found a very good way of exploiting.
The professionals have blamed, among others, poor governance, corruption, involvement of quacks, political interference and intimidation from counties for the dire status of the built space. Further, they note that majority of Kenyans are forced to live in deplorable housing situations due to high cost of living. Housing deficit has also been singled out as a driving factor for the construction of deficient buildings.
The responsibility ultimately on following such a tragedy from its beginning to the end rests with the developer.
One would be very interested to know then whether then there was this continuous monitoring of the works.
Research has shown that housing deficit in Kenya stands at 200 per year and is approximated to hit 1 million in the next 5 years. More than 200 buildings have collapsed between 1996 and 2025, and more than 250 people have died as a result, raising questions on whether or not lessons picked from investigations on collapsed buildings have been incorporated to improve the industry.
We have lost lives, and it is very sad, and we don't need to. Not when you have invested in professionals as many as these ones here. And in fact, we are crying because a lot of architects, engineers, young ones are out there without work.
Stakeholders say the government takes the bulk of the blame for the collapse of buildings. To fix the problem, planning departments in counties have been challenged to invest in value addition.
Just the other day, we saw the Leaning Tower of Mombasa, which was eventually blown up. We saw a snippet of a report that was saying there was a lot of credentials, renting, and stuff like that. We saw a report indicating that 61% of the approvals done were done by only 3 engineers. 75% of approvals done in the county, only done by 5 architects.
We are very powerful developers who are constantly intimidating professionals, and not just within the private sector, but also within the counties. I mean, this is an issue that needs to be addressed.
As the controversy on who should take the blame when a building collapses mounts, stakeholders in the built space have said that unless professionals are involved in the entire development process, the country may continue to experience the crisis of structurally deficient buildings. Esther Diana, KTN, Nairobi.
And now let's move on to matters